Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Nolan Hawkeye Anthony YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be, and of course, however you may be listening. I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic 4th of July. Some of you guys may not watch this until tomorrow, as you guys are having very busy days, fun days. I recorded this, or I'm recording this early in the morning as I myself have things planned. But I thought this was a good time to start doing position previews. This is sort of the time that I start doing kind of more fun videos. Like I'm thinking of doing a video ranking the position groups that Iowa has as a unit, from best to worst. Like I said, the aforementioned position previews, top 10 most important Hawkeyes, and what type of season do they need to have for this to be a successful season, all of that. So stay tuned for that. Briefly, before I get into my quarterback preview, we're going to start with the probably most popular position right off the bat. I just want to say I was reminiscing on my time speaking on Iowa Hawkeye sports and just kind of my growth through the process and kind of my setup and things like that. And man, it really has evolved. And I think I touched upon this in a previous video, how I've always been somebody who is totally okay failing or not having like complete success in front of others. And what I mean by that is, to me, that's part of the process. And in order to get to where you have to go, you need to be willing to have others who are onlooking or observing see you not be completely successful. And so, for example, the podcasting, like I think back to my days doing Facebook lives and I think I did Periscopes. Trying to remember if I did Twitter. I think I did do Twitter, but the main one was Facebook. Facebook was always the biggest one. And just thinking of like all the setup and the evolution of the setup, I really like where things are at now. I like my setup. I like the background. I like the microphone, all of that stuff. Now I'm always constantly trying to have it be better, but it's just very interesting. And then since this is the 4th of July, I think kind of just a external message would be to be open to not being perfect in front of everybody all the time. Most people are gracious and show grace and understanding. And like in sports, there is a process to things. And, you know, if you think that all of these professional athletes or collegiate athletes, what we see is exactly what they were no matter what, or even outside of sports, some of these really successful people, if you think that what you see is what it's always been, you're mistaken. They are an accumulation of all of the previous uh, failures and successes and experiences. They are the accumulation. What you see in that current moment, they are the accumulation of those past events. So, and as far as sports goes, players fail on the field all the time. So it's really not, it's really not that big of a deal. And I think that a lot of people allow this to prevent them from trying things that they are aspirational about, but they convince themselves of several reasons why they can't do it, namely what other people will think. So anyways, but I also just want to thank you guys for being with me. I know there's several of you guys that I've seen throughout the entire process, even before I got on YouTube. I always tell people I get questions asking if I wish I would have started doing YouTube even sooner. And obviously I can't go back and change it. But yeah, on a certain level, I do, because the channel would be bigger. However, the rationale, the reason why I didn't go directly on YouTube is because, to me, if I and I don't think that this I honestly I think that this was a false thought process, but my thinking was that if I can't be successful gaining an audience on Facebook, then it won't be successful on YouTube, which is not true, because Facebook and YouTube are totally different platforms. And honestly, I don't even stream on Facebook anymore. I guess I could do live streaming on Facebook. I suppose I could still do that. When the first year that I had this channel up and running, I tried to simultaneously stream Facebook and YouTube, but I haven't figured out how to do that, how to stream across multiple platforms at once. Maybe I'll get that figured out sometime in the future here. But to me, YouTube is just fine. Everybody knows where YouTube is at. It's super super accessible. Honestly, though, if I were to go to another platform, I would honestly consider Rumble as opposed to Facebook. So as Rumble continues to get bigger, but this being a sports channel, the need to go to this type of content is safe across all platforms, to be honest. So of course I wish I had gotten to YouTube sooner. However, ultimately I realize that whatever I did on Facebook really helped me sharpen my skills behind a camera and a microphone before officially coming to YouTube. And so I had a lot of those things ironed out much more than others do just going straight to YouTube. And there were a lot of things that I was already aware of that otherwise would take most people a long time to figure out. Now, to be completely frank with you, honestly, at that time, I probably just was not as focused as I am as I've gotten older and things like that. But I really do believe that everything happens for a reason. And so how the setup happened, getting over here and eventually getting to YouTube all worked out for the best. So anyways, I thought that I would take a break from the norm and kind of have a more personable conversation before we get into the quarterback preview. And without further ado, let's get into this. By the way, guys, make sure the normal YouTube shite, the like, comment, share, the subscribing. Like I've been saying, I'd really love for this channel to get to 2,000 subs by the start of the next season. We're definitely inching closer to that. So I appreciate all the support. And really, that's kind of, as I wrap up that first story, that first segment of this episode, I just want to say thank you to all of you guys who have supported the channel throughout, and anybody who has tagged along more recently. You guys don't have to watch this. You guys choose to watch this, and I really do appreciate it. And even people who disagree with me, even people who throw negative personal comments, on a certain level, I understand it and it doesn't affect me too much. Of course, I would prefer it to be respectful and thoughtful, but it doesn't. I understand it. And I really do want this to be a community where all Iowa fans can share their opinions. So I just wanted to say thank you. And of course, happy 4th of July, as I said at the beginning of the video. All right, quarterback preview. Now that you guys have smashed the subscribe button, let's look at the quarterback. So for me, the main two players that are legitimately candidates to run the helm, run the ship, to captain the ship, as it were, for the Iowa Hawkeyes is Cade McNamara and Brendan Sullivan. Now, I'm going to be frank with you guys. I personally think that Brendan Sullivan is the guy that should get the job. I like his intangibles. I like his ability to escape the pocket. And I think he just offers more than Cade McNamara. I really do. He's bigger. He's faster. And I also think that if you look at both of them and what they came from, Cade McNamara coming from Michigan and Brendan Sullivan coming from Northwestern, Northwestern is not, I wouldn't say it's a terrible program, but it's definitely no Michigan, even in the days that they made the Big Ten championship. And honestly, Brendan Sullivan's numbers are comparable to Cade McNamara's numbers when he was a starter at Michigan. And it really does kind of spark the imagination what Brendan Sullivan would be capable of doing. I do believe that Iowa is a step up in talent from Northwestern. And specifically this year that they are stepping into, I think Iowa has all the talent needed to take a massive step forward. Now, a lot of Iowa fans will disagree with me, and that's fine. I think most of it is out of not being as aware as somebody like I am, because I pay attention to this stuff all the time, of the recruits that Iowa is able to bring in. But even if you're not aware of the recruits that Iowa is able to bring in, you just look at all the position groups across the offense, starting with the offensive line. They have a ton of experience. Do they have like a Tyler Linderbaum or a Tristan Wirfs or a big name coming into this season? No, but that doesn't mean that when all is said and done, that one or two guys aren't going to be capable of taking that massive leap forward. I think Logan Jones is capable of doing that. And I think Mason Richmond is capable of doing that. And Connor Colby. If you look at some of these preseason rankings, multiple guys across Iowa's offensive line rank in the top 5 of their position in the Big Ten. Logan Jones. Tyler Linderbaum. Man, I wish he was still here. Logan Jones, and this was written by a Nebraska website writer. I posted it in the Facebook group. Is ranked coming into this season the number 1 center in the Big Ten. So, and regardless of the talent, this group has experience. All of these guys have been here. They haven't decided to transfer out. They've been here for multiple years. They've been loyal to Iowa. They have multiple years of experience. Logan Jones, this will be his 3rd year of experience. Connor Colby, this will be his 4th year of major experience. Jennings Dunker, this will be his 2nd. Mason Richmond, this will be his 3rd. And Tyler Ellsbury, this will be his 2nd season of major game reps. And then, of course, you have Nick DeJong, who has multiple years of game experience. He has not been able to take that leap forward. He kind of was put into the role as kind of a placeholder, but he still has experience. You have North Dakota transfer from Southeast Polk High School, Cade Baroud, who's there. I really think that's an underrated get for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Bo Stevens, Jack Dotzler, this offensive line has experience. If I had to give just a preliminary ranking off the top of my head in the Big Ten of this offensive line as a position group, I'd say they're top 5 in the Big Ten, honestly. Then you look at the wide receivers, and there are athletes and talent on the outside. Seth Anderson, Caleb Brown are 2 of the most talented guys that Iowa has had in the wide receiver room in multiple years, probably since at the very least Amir Smith-Marset and Brandon Smith, but both of them have a tremendous amount of natural talent. They also brought in Jacob Gill from Northwestern. It remains to be seen if he's able to really contribute at the Big Ten level, but at the very least, he's a speedster. They have speed on the outside. I know Caleb Brown got in trouble for the OWI, in other states, a DUI. And then the running back room. This might be, I think that Iowa's running back room is legitimately a top 5 running, if not top 3 running back room in the Big Ten. All of these guys have major experience, or all multiple, let's see, LaShawn Williams, Caleb Johnson, Kamari Moulton got a ton of snaps as a true freshman, Terrell Washington Jr., and then Josiah Patterson. So what I'm getting at is whoever is under center, to me, has the talent and the players to get the job done at the quarterback position. To me, I think that Brendan Sullivan is the guy that can elevate Iowa to the next level that they're trying to get at. So let me take a step back from my opinion and just kind of look at these guys both in a vacuum. Cade McNamara, I'm going to pull up his stats here so you guys can see what he's dealing with. So here we go, guys. He checks in 6'1", 205 pounds. These are his career stats right here. His best year was probably 2021, where he had 2,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, 6 INTs. However, if you directly compare that to Brendan Sullivan, and I would say that it's only slightly better. And the other thing that Brendan Sullivan has on Cade McNamara is he has, for the most part, stayed healthy. Cade McNamara has had multiple season-ending injuries, and that is cause for concern. He checks in at 6'3", 225 pounds. It doesn't seem like he ever had a full season of starting experience. Rather, he has had 2 years of kind of halvesy partial starting experience. So his best year would probably be, man, it's tough because 1 year he had a 74%, but less touchdowns. Let's just go with whatever is the higher quarterback rating. It looks like they placed touchdown passes as the big thing. And of course, he had more yards. So the year he had a 140.2 passer rating. Okay. So those are the 2 main contributors. Of course, you do have Marco Lainez. I'm going to pull up his recruiting profile here. Here is Marco Lainez recruiting profile. He was pretty much widely considered a mid-level 3-star prospect. Now, early in the recruiting process, he was a high 3-star. I even remember him being a 4-star by at least 1 or 2 recruiting services. But I've told you guys in the past, what happens with guys that commit early and stop going to some of these regional camps and things like that is these recruiting services are not able to go out and see them. So really it boils down to their high school tape, which of course is not utilized as much as going out to some of these regional camps and national camps on the camp circuit. So I think, of course, that worked against him because if you look at his offer sheet, he had a really, really strong offer sheet. Michigan State, Illinois, West Virginia, Pittsburgh, and of course, Notre Dame was in on him as well. His major experience is against Tennessee. I think he came in and gave Iowa a spark on the ground, not really much in the air, which is not really a surprise as Brian Ferentz really devolved in his passing concepts over the years. He did not get better. It only got worse. And the passing game for Iowa was like, it was like watching a toddler trying to chuck a 30-pound rock, okay? Or a 100-pound rock. Hell, can't be done. And we even had people making fun of Deacon Hill, that he is an offensive lineman at the quarterback position, that Iowa. I need to tell. I forgot to. So where I live, I have seen multiple people at the gym that are either Iowa fans, and I've talked about this in the past. I haven't seen this guy in a long time, um, because I don't go to the gym that early in the morning, and maybe he moved or something. But there was one guy who's full blown Iowa fan. He always had Iowa gear, and then I've seen one or two other people wearing Iowa gear, but I've seen also a couple of guys wearing Nebraska gear, and of course I bring it up to them. And there's a guy I literally talked to yesterday, and he's a diehard Cornhusker fan. And he was telling me how brutal it was for him, that it ruined his whole weekend, that Iowa came back and beat Nebraska, especially how they beat Nebraska. And he of course said that Iowa beat them with an offensive lineman at the quarterback position, which, that's not a new thing. So as far as Marco Lainez goes, I think that worst comes to worst, he could give Iowa some good snaps if both Brendan Sullivan and Cade McNamara got injured. I think he could give some good snaps, but I don't think that that's likely. I also am not sure that he would even be the guy that they go to. I as of right now, I would say he is, but Iowa, of course, got a transfer from one-time Washington commit. And I think I ended up doing a video on this. That, of course, is Jackson Stratton, 6'5". Like I said, he originally committed to Washington, but they had a quarterback change, and he ended up going to Colorado State. Let's check him out, see what he is all about. They had him graded as an 85. You guys can see there, like I said, and he's from La Jolla, which is definitely one of the premier high schools in the state of California. I mean, he's got great size, great size. I'm seeing, I don't think he had any major stats, but let's pull up his. So he had 78 yards. He was 4 of 17, 78 yards, 1 TD, 2 INTs. Obviously not the best. So I think he's going to be coming to Iowa as a redshirt sophomore, redshirt freshman. Of course, we got to wait till it gets pulled up here. Wow, guys, look at that. They already got him up in there, number 19. So he's going to be a redshirt sophomore. So just to wrap this up, guys, because there's not really much more to dive into. You guys know who all the key guys are. Cade McNamara. Of course, you have Brendan Sullivan. You have Marco Lainez, who a lot of people are excited about. You have Jackson Stratton, and you have James Razor. I need to show you guys that recruiting profile real quick. So James Razor is probably the highest rated quarterback recruit Iowa has landed since, believe it or not, Spencer Petras. Yes, Spencer Petras. So one or two of the recruiting services had Spencer Petras as a 4-star. Let me see if I think it was 247. Yeah, check this out, guys. ESPN. So 247 Sports had him as an 87. ESPN had him as an 80. Isn't that crazy? 40 time, 5.1. Man, that is not fast at all. Not fast at all. Well, actually, On Three has him in their database, and Rivals had him as a 5.8. So again, he probably is the highest rated guy coming out of high school. But just to put a nice little bow on James Razor, who 247 Sports had him as a 90, ESPN had him as a 79. Those were the two that were the highest on him. He was primarily being graded as a pure football player with the athletic traits that he has. He's supremely fast. He's a different type of quarterback. I think this was Brian Ferentz' last ditch effort to save his job. The prototypical pocket passer was not working out. Now, to tell you guys the truth, I don't think that, while I do think that by and large it's better, especially nowadays, it makes it easier to be more successful with quarterbacks by and large. You don't have to land a Peyton Manning with an amazing arm in order to be successful at the quarterback position. Nowadays, you can plug and play athletes and develop their throwing skills. While I do think that that's the case, I also think that Brian Ferentz did not fail primarily because Spencer Petras was a pro style, non-mobile quarterback. He mostly failed because of his lack of creativity and a lack of evolution regarding run schemes, passing concepts, route trees, and things like that. So when it comes to James Razor, all of the recruiting analysts and the evaluation on him is he is an excellent athlete. Ran the 100-meter dash in under 11 seconds. He went to a really nice high school in the state of Florida. He's got great size at 6'3.5", 6'4". Got a great frame. Overall, it's going to take some time for Iowa to develop him. But to tell you the truth, I'm really excited about his potential with Tim Lester, because regardless of what Tim Lester is able to do with the offense, I do believe that he is a much better pure quarterbacks coach and developer than Brian Ferentz ever could be or was. But it's going to take a few years. He is not going to be in the running next year. He's going to be a redshirt this upcoming year, and that will be that. But I do mark it right now. I am excited about this guy's future. I think that he will be in the running. I would say after year 2 at Iowa, after his redshirt freshman year. So in 2 years' time, he will primarily battle with Marco Lainez and whoever Iowa is able to bring in this class. It looks like Jimmy Sullivan and Ryan Fitzpatrick, who is the son of former Northwestern coach, whatever his first name is, Fitzpatrick. Can't believe I'm blanking on his name. Whatever his dad's name is. Excuse me. It is Pat Fitzgerald, not Fitzpatrick. And his son spurned some MAC schools to walk on at Iowa. And he even has a high 3-star grade by multiple recruiting services, and really could have, with a solid senior year, and still can. I mean, the door's not closed on this. He really has the potential to develop into a guy that can be a full-blown Power 5 prospect. He already is. I think Iowa would have offered him had they not already had a commit in Jimmy Sullivan. Their recruiting profiles are pretty much identical. So, but anyways, that's that for James Razor. Really nice prospect, but probably won't see any significant possibility of seeing the field until 2 years from now. Just to wrap this up, you guys know all the major candidates: Cade McNamara, Brendan Sullivan, Those are the primary two candidates for Iowa and the starting position, with the next tier, in my opinion, being Marco Lainez and the Colorado State transfer, Jackson Stratton. I do want to comment that what Iowa was able to do in the transfer portal, I think, is a direct statement on Tim Lester immediately, specifically in the quarterback room, his ability to transform the quarterback room and elevate the talent level. I think Iowa, he in his first year has immediately made Iowa's quarterback room more talented than it was last year, and I believe the year before, the past 2 years under Brian Ferentz. The fact that he was able to land a guy in the transfer portal as a walk-on in Jackson Stratton says a lot. He's a really nice prospect, 6'5". All of these guys have good frame, good size, and potential. And that is what it's all about, is breeding healthy competition towards elevating the room. And I don't think we ever saw that in the past. We pretty much knew who all the guys were going to be under Brian Ferentz. They never really landed anybody in the transfer portal until Cade McNamara. But again, Tim Lester comes in and immediately adds 2 guys. And then on top of that, he lands Ryan Fitzpatrick out of high school as a walk-on. Now, it's not Ryan Fitzgerald, excuse me. It's not set in stone. This kid may develop into a Power 5 prospect across the board and may get some scholarship offers and choose to not take the walk-on spot at Iowa, but I digress. So I don't want to go down that too much. Just suffice it to say, I think Tim Lester did a good job of improving the quarterback room in year 1. Just to wrap this up, I do believe that Iowa's best chance at winning the most games possible this upcoming season is Brendan Sullivan. As soon as Iowa landed him and I saw what he had done at Northwestern, not that it was, crazy good or anything like that, I thought that he would be a better option than Cade McNamara for the reasons that I said at the beginning of the video. I think that he has he has shown an ability to stay healthy, and him coming to Iowa will immediately improve the talent level around him as compared to him being at Northwestern. Not by much, but still more. The biggest problem with Cade McNamara is his size and his inability to stay healthy. Now, ultimately, what I think should happen and what will happen are 2 different things. What will happen is that unless Brendan Sullivan is far and away better in the camp before the start of the season than Cade McNamara will be the starter, day 1 starter. And even if Brendan Sullivan is able to come in and tear it up and do way better than Cade is able to do in the camp leading up to the season, I still think that Cade will be the starter due to the NIL money that he has been guaranteed and received transferring from Michigan. And I think Iowa wants to have a return on their investment landing him. And I understand that. I do. College football, especially in the Power 5 conferences, is becoming more akin, and I've told you guys this before, it's becoming more akin to professional sports than it is to what we saw pre-2000s in college football. And there is the whole concept of return on investment. College sports at this point, college football and college basketball, specifically Power 5 levels, or Power 6, excuse me, or Power 4, excuse me, are somewhere in the middle between what it used to be into amateurism and full-blown college sports. I think it's more akin to like a second division in professional soccer or something like that than anything else. Okay, because of the money that they are paid. So Cade McNamara will be the day one starter, and I will be fully behind him, and I want him to succeed. I really do. And I do think that there's something to be said about it being his last year, his last chance to impress before heading off to the NFL. But guys, he has been injured for a long time, and the injury that he has been out since what was it, the fourth or fifth game of the season last year, and he still is just getting healthy. I mean, he has been in recovery for nearly, if not more, a year's time. So the chances of him re-injuring what he injured, I think, are unfortunately very high. But I do wish him the best, and I really do hope he's successful. When all is said and done, I think he does have some of the traits to be successful. He's a tremendous leader, and you don't lose that no matter how injured you get. And I do think that he has the talent around him to be successful at quarterback, the same as Brendan Sullivan. Ultimately, I think that this is going to come down to Tim Lester and what Tim Lester is able to get in year one out of his two main quarterback options. How much better are they going to be in the new scheme now that things are opened up a little bit? That is really what is going to determine the success of the quarterback position. The good news for whoever the quarterback is that they have a veteran running back room, they have a veteran offensive line, and Iowa has a NFL caliber tight end in Luke Lachey, assuming he can stay healthy. And they have some speed and talent on the outside. The one thing that this offense is missing, and therefore what the quarterback is missing, is a big body target at the wide receiver position. But they can compensate for that at the tight end position. And who knows, maybe Jarriett Bowie or Dayton Howard can, or who knows, Reese Vanderzee can become and develop into that option this year. Obviously, not the number one option. Caleb Brown and Seth Anderson and Caden Wetchen will likely be the main options, maybe even Jacob Gill. But can they become an option a few times a game? Can they become, serviceable to where they can be put into some packages and be counted on to make some plays? All right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You guys know the drill. Let me know what you guys think about the quarterback position. Are you guys excited about it? Are you guys kind of indifferent? I'm kind of indifferent. I don't think that there's a ton of talent that's currently in the room. I don't think that we have a CJ Beathard or a Brad Banks or I think I think at the high end, what we can hope for is a CJ Beathard type season. At kind of the median, the average, I think kind of what we're looking at is somewhere what we can be hopeful for is somewhere slightly above Spencer Petrus's best season. Probably more akin to like a Drew Tate type season or like a Ricky Stanzi type season. That is where to me what the median is for the two possible quarterback options for the Iowa Hawkeyes. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. DBAP, don't be a pussy willow. Facts or feelings because your feelings just matter. Love you guys. See you guys next time. Have a great 4th of July. I will see you guys next time. Go Hawks. Bye-bye.